Welcome back to The Writing Life. I am your host, John Hartness. I'm a science fiction and fantasy author, editor, founder and publisher of Falstaff Books, and I am a podcaster. I'm a cast member of the Authors and Dragons YouTube and podcast live play D&D show. And I'm also familiar with the process of working at home and with the adjustments of working from home. So we're going to talk today a little bit about how to transition from having a day job to maybe you just got laid off. Maybe you just quit your day job. Maybe you've been furloughed because of the coronavirus. Maybe life has just changed and you're going to be a full-time writer. So it's time to make that transition, and I've got some tips on how to do that more effectively. But before we get started, I do have a request. It is late April. It's the 20th of April, 2020, and the United States is in the middle of a pandemic. Tens of thousands of people have died in the last 7 weeks from COVID-19 and its complications. And thus, most of the country is under stay-at-home orders, and we are no different. What that means for a small press is that all of those books and all of those books that would be for sale during convention season now are on my shelves, and we are looking at a significant loss in revenue because of convention cancellations, as well as the fact that a lot of folks are laid off. A lot of folks have been let go from their job, or they've seen a reduction in hours and a reduction in income. So ebook sales are also taking a hit. We're expecting to see about a 25% reduction in revenue over this month and over the next several months. So if these videos are helpful to you, I would love it if you could go to falstaffbooks.com and buy a book. That's a great way to help an author. Buy a book. If you don't want to buy a book, you can go to tpublic.com/falstaffbooks and you can get an awesome t-shirt. We've got some great designs up there, and that helps it helps the cause, it helps the company. We get a couple of bucks off each shirt. If you want to buy a book that we reference in our Writing Life videos or in our Falstaff Spotlights over the course of the week, the links that we build into the show notes do have an Amazon affiliate code buried in them, so we do get a little bit of money thrown back when you buy something by clicking the links in. If you go to Amazon by clicking through those links, no matter what you buy, if you go through that link and then you go buy a toaster, we get a couple of percentage points of the cost of the toaster. So when I look at the report, I can't see who buys what, but y'all buy some weird shit on Amazon. And of course, like, subscribe, ring the bell to get notifications whenever we post new content. We're now posting new content every day, Monday through Friday, and we'll continue to do so for as long as we're quarantined, and hopefully thereafter, because we've got some great readings, some great interviews and discussions coming. So if you can spare some time, if you have cash to spare, we also have a GoFundMe running. All of that money helps go to cover costs. It goes to pay our editors. It goes to pay our cover artists and those folks that don't get a piece of the book sale money if there's no piece of the money to go. So in order to keep everything rolling, in order to keep the 70 plus titles we have scheduled for release this year rolling, we could really use your help. So all of those things are helpful if you are strapped for cash and you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription. Those page reads are gold. For your $10 a month, you can read any book that we produce. And we, as the publisher, we get paid for that. So that money goes to the authors as well. And if you don't have any money, but you've read something that you like, that you really enjoyed, leave a review. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter, sign up. We give away a lot of free stuff. We've got a massive quarantine ebook sale going on right now that you can find out about on our Facebook group. So if you can help out, I would really appreciate it. We would really appreciate it. It'll help us continue bringing what we feel is the very damn best in science fiction and fantasy and alternate history to you. So without further ado, this is The Writing Life. So you are now a full-time writer. Congratulations, if it was your choice. Crap, I'm sorry if it wasn't by your choosing. A lot of people are all of a sudden finding themselves either full-time writers or at home with a whole lot more time than they're accustomed to having. Well, I've gone through the transition from having a day job to working from home as a full-time writer. I've gone through it twice now. The first time, I didn't go through the transition very well at all. So I went back to having a day job for about 3 years. Then when my last day job, we had a parting of the ways, shall we say. They laid my ass off. They fired my ass. When that happened, I was much more motivated to write, and I had learned some of the pitfalls of trying to work from home when you are accustomed to having a day job. So let me begin by introducing you to one of the single biggest tools, one of the most important things you can acquire that will make your writing at home and your work from home and your full-time writing life 100 times better. You ready? You ready? Because I'm coming back. You waiting? You still there? No, I'm not coming back with alcohol. Although, that helps. Headphones. A decent set of headphones can be a marriage saver. It's gonna be really important for you and your partner, spouse, roommate, kid. If you're stuck at home with a lot of people you're not used to spending 24 hours a day with, it's a big adjustment. If you've ever wondered why people will be married for 35 years and suddenly get divorced after they retire, it's because it's the first time in 35 years they spent all damn day together. Susie doesn't work outside the home. Her job is to take care of me and the cat. And trust me, we are high maintenance mothers and it is a full-time job. And she hadn't worked outside the home for a few years when I left my day job the first time. It took us several months to get our head wrapped around being together all day, because we never had been. If you're now furloughed or quarantined and on an enforced work from home, you may be in the same boat. You haven't shared space with your spouse while conscious for 8 consecutive hours every day. You know, you get up, you spend a little time together in the morning as you're getting ready to go to work, then you go to work. 8, 10, 11 hours that you're gone, and then you come back and you're together for a couple hours and you go to bed. You have quite possibly spent more time awake with your coworkers than with your spouse. That's going to lead to some adjustments, especially if they are accustomed to being at home and they've got their stuff figured out. Their routine is set, and now here you are, all up in their business, getting up in the way, getting underfoot. My wife and I have a running joke that the sound of her opening the lid on the washing machine makes me have to pee. The office is right next to the downstairs bathroom, which has the washer and dryer in it. And invariably, I'll get up to go to the bathroom and, oh, you're doing laundry. It's not like she does laundry every day, all day. But there's some bizarre coincidence. It feels like every time she touches the washing machine, suddenly I gotta pee. It took us a while to get to where we could laugh about stuff like that, because we had to figure out how to share the space that had previously been largely hers. Well, I take up a lot of space. I'm not just big, I'm loud too. So I'm a big adjustment. Now, your spouse may be thrilled to have you home. I'm 6'1". My wife's 5'2". Me being home all the time means that she never has to wait to get something off the top of the refrigerator. But it does also mean that the two of you have to have conversations. It may be 4, it may be 7, depending on how many kids are involved. Now, all of a sudden, they're schooled from home. You all have to have a conversation about, when I'm working, I'm at work. You have to pretend just like I'm not here. Ooh, that's funny. So on my phone where I'm recording this, there's a little white circle. So if I hold my hand just like this, it looks like Iron Man's repulsor ray. I'm that big a nerd. I mean, I'm sitting in front of Sandman and Grendel dolls, for God's sake. I am obviously that big a nerd. But you guys have to have a conversation about being in the space together. And it's going to be some give and take, but the sooner you talk through it, the less likely you are to have an explosive argument about it. And when you can't leave, explosive arguments are bad. So try not to strangle one another. They can tell that shit in autopsy. Hyoid bones cracked, petechia, they know. For you, as the person recently transitioning to working from home, you have to set start and stop times. If you're not working for a company, If your job has said, okay, work from home, and these are our office hours, fine, whatever, they're paying the bills. But if you're transitioning to a full-time writing gig, it's really important, especially at that first couple of months, to try and set yourself some flavor of schedule. No, you don't have to get up as early as you used to if you don't feel like it. But the temptation that you will find is not to work less. It's to work more. I will frequently be in this office for 11 or 12 hours a day, and that's not healthy. So the past month or so, I've been playing a lot more video games. Borderlands 3 is awesome. But that also means that I'm underfoot a little more. So schedule your work day. You're going to have one conversation you're going to have with the people around you is, sometimes it's not obvious that I'm writing. A lot of writing isn't fingers on the keyboard. One, there's a lot of research involved. A lot of research involved. You're researching time periods, you're researching technology. For me, I research a lot of fauna and a lot of maps because I need to know how long it takes to get from point A to point B. And I need to know if that mode of transportation existed during that time period. Less important if I'm making up the entire world. So my wife has learned to, if I'm not actively typing and she comes into the office, to ask, are you writing? No, I'm screwing around on Facebook. What do you need? Or, yeah, give me a second, I'm looking this up. We don't have a door on the office. It's a long story involving carpet and doors not being the right height to open. So when we redid the floors, we haven't rehung the door because that was 20 years ago, and that door's been sitting under the house for 20 years. I'm sure it's just befouled. So we don't have a door on the office. That's why sometimes you'll hear my washing machine play its little tune when it stops. So I have to keep her apprised of my schedule and say, hey, I've got a video conference today at 1 o'clock. Don't put up drying racks in the office this afternoon. And by the way, I'm taping a video. Don't come into the office if you don't want to be on video. These are important things to tell your significant other. It's funny when your kid or your cat or your dog photobombs you. It's less funny when your spouse is walking around with no pants on and all of a sudden all of your subscribers have seen their ass. That's still kind of hilarious, but it doesn't go well. So make sure that your communication is really open, or you're going to get killed. I mean, straight murdered, y'all. And they'll have plenty of time to figure out how to hide the body because nobody's going to miss you. You weren't going to work anyway. And if all of a sudden there are really, really nice tomato plants in the backyard, oh well. I don't remember the name of that movie, but but Ron Perlman is in it, and it's fantastic. Somebody leave a note in comments. They invite people to dinner and kill them, and Ron Perlman's in it. For you, this doesn't have anything to do with anybody else, but there are two things that you'll need to figure out about yourself working from home. And those are, what is your most productive time of day? And are you a schedule person or a goal person? Working in an office environment, you don't get to build your workflow around your preference as to whether or not you're a schedule person or a goal person. Somebody up the food chain is telling you whether you're going to be a schedule person or a goal person. I am a goal person. My former employer was a schedule person. I lost all the arguments about why can't I just work 4 days a week and as long as I'm getting everything done. I screw around at least one full work day every week anyway. Well, then why am I paying you so much? Because I sell more than anybody else you have. No, you can't have Fridays off. I am very much, I have a goal. This is when this goal needs to happen. Sometimes those goals get moved because sometimes the world blows up and pandemic and I'm late delivering Bubba season 5 book 2. I know this, but it's done. It'll be edited soon. Anyway, so it's really important for you to understand how you work. I am goal-oriented. I have deadlines, I have goals. I don't really care if it gets done 1,000 words a day or 5,000 words a day. I need this much work done by this day. That means that yesterday, after multiple 0 to 1,000 word days, yesterday I wrote 3,000 words to finish up the book. Fini. So figure out then when you work best and what you do best during what times. I write best mornings and night. So 8 to noon, that's good writing time for me. 7 to 11, also good writing time for me. Noon to 7 is good time for me to do videos, good time for me to edit, do publishing stuff, send out Patreon rewards, upload paperbacks, pack boxes. I'm pointing like you can see what I'm pointing at because the camera is currently sitting on a stack of boxes of books people have ordered. Middle of the day is a good time for me to arrange bookcases, move stuff around in the office. That's how I work. You may get your most productive writing done from 1 to 5 p.m., but you're going to have to play around with it and figure that out. But the most important thing as you're transitioning into being a full-time writer is have fun. Look, there's a whole movement afoot to churn out 1 million words a day and 1 million books a year because that's the way to make $1 million writing books. Well, it might be. I mean, there are people who absolutely are doing it. But if I wanted to do that work, I'd still have a damn day job and I'd have health insurance. I can bust my ass on some kind of artificial schedule that somebody else creates and get paid more money and have benefits. I'd still have a 401k. Have fun. Figure out what works best for you. What makes the best books for you? Some people can write a book every 6 months. Some people every 9 months. Some people every 24 months. Some people every 2 or 3 months. But it's going to be different. There is no one-size-fits-all solution. There's certainly things that will improve your visibility, and one of those is releasing titles regularly. But if you're just going to kill yourself, grind. Do it in something with some stability and write on the side. That way you can have fun. Enjoy writing. Enjoy having time with your family. You did marry this person because you like them. You had these kids. You ought to like them. This is a rough time. It's scary. It's frustrating. It's all of those things. So take your time. Find the good in it. And don't forget to take care of one another. I'll be back in a few days to talk about other books. Until then, if you get an opportunity to support Falstaff Books, I'd appreciate it. If you can't do so financially, please like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you tomorrow with a Falstaff Spotlight.